All right, we're back with the Tuesday evening edition of Weather for Weather Geeks. It's the Valley's most in-depth weather video. Today, kind of looked pretty cloudy for a time this afternoon, but it was a pretty decent day overall with some milky sunshine and temperatures making their way to the upper 40s to around 50. We fell a little short of our forecast high today with the clouds thickening up a bit this afternoon, but it was still, all things considered, a pretty nice early April day. In stark contrast to what we were dealing with a year ago today, we had snow that started on April Fool's Day and then continued into parts of the second day of April last year. And this dropped locally 5 inches or so, places such as Hanoverton, and even 4.5, 5 inches, East Palestine to East Liverpool. Amounts were definitely highest in the southern part of our viewing area with this storm last year. At the Youngstown Warren Airport, we had between 1 and 2 inches. Generally with that early April system last year, but yeah, there was pretty good spread across our area. So at least we didn't have anything like that to deal with today, and we have no accumulating snow expected anytime real soon around here. All right, I'm recording this video at 7:02, and it's going to be a really nice sunset this evening. I've got our Youngstown camera facing west, new sponsor on our evening weather cams. Thanks to Marks for being a sponsor, and I'm going to do a time-lapse as usual later this evening. I've been doing a lot of Boardman sunset time-lapses lately. I'll do a Youngstown one tonight since I've got the camera pointed in the right direction to this evening. Residual clouds departing just in time for the sunset should make for a really, really colorful one this evening. We had that veil of high and mid-level clouds for a lot of the morning into the afternoon. As I mentioned, they kind of thickened up for a time this afternoon. That kind of put a halt to our temperature rise. We stopped in the upper 40s. Boy, what a system off the coast of the Carolinas this evening. Sort of, kind of resembling a tropical system almost, as this thing is strengthened rapidly off the coast of North Carolina. Even kind of an eye-like feature being picked up on the radar right in through here, well east of Hatteras this evening. Now, this storm brought a very unusual weather event to parts of the Carolinas this morning. They had accumulating snow on April 2nd in parts of the Charlotte area and just north of Columbia as well. Now, most of this, of course, was not on the pavement. It was just on the grass. But for one of the very few times in recorded history, Charlotte had accumulating snow. They picked up 0.1, I think, officially at the airport there. One of the very few times, only a handful of times in recorded history during the month of April. So it's really late in the year for that sort of thing down there. Hey, look at that. I grabbed the wrong graphic again tonight. That's the wrong Indians graphics. Let me get rid of that. What I meant to show you was that for the Indians' day game tomorrow, let's show you this one. They have got a day game tomorrow afternoon. It's a 1 o'clock pitch against the White Sox for the second home game of the year. Should be a real nice day in Cleveland and here locally. Lower 50s. Notice the wind speeds. It'll be a pretty gusty breeze in the afternoon. Now, a west wind up at Progressive Field blows out towards right field like this. So maybe left-handed batters will enjoy that. It'll be a nice day for baseball, just in the shade as usual. It'll be quite a bit cooler than those in the strong April sun. This front comes through tomorrow morning silently, little fanfare with that. Now, that front does have just a slight push of cool air with it. That will prevent our temperatures from getting too mild tomorrow. Most places will sneak up to about average 53, 54, especially north of I-80. We might fall a little short of that, closer to 50, but whether it's 50 or 54, it's still a nice day. It'll be wall-to-wall sunshine for the afternoon. All right, forecast for Thursday and Friday remains not so great. Thursday, a little light rain. Don't think there's many snowflakes mixed in with this, but especially at the onset at some point Thursday morning, there might be a couple of random snowflakes. Not expecting much rain on Thursday. I think the wetter period's coming up on Friday as this low scoots by the Ohio Valley. This will be light rain, but a borderline washout coming our way on Friday. Here's a look at the model spread for rainfall totals. Again, notice the bulk of it comes Friday. We've got an average of about a half an inch shown on the modeling for Thursday through Friday night. So not all the rain in the world, but a pretty decent amount of rain, especially coming our way Friday. The timing on this is pretty good, though, in that we'll get this out of the way just in time for the weekend. I wanted to spend a moment this evening talking about the longer range. We just put out our April forecast, and it showed a warm-looking map for a lot of the U.S., including here. Now, I don't think it'll be a tremendously warm month by any stretch, but a little warmer than average was our forecast. There's some pretty stark model differences, though, in the longer range that, shed some doubt on the persistence of any mild pattern as we go through the month of April. Now, I'm going to show you the GFS model here first, GFS Ensemble. temperature anomalies. Now it has, just like the European has, this nice warm-up coming for the weekend. Notice the oranges and browns centered across the region, way above average for the end of the weekend and early next week. And then there is pretty good model agreement that a cool shot will come down towards the end of next week into the following weekend. This is Palm Sunday weekend here, showing, the warmth has been squashed a little bit down into the deep south. Now the GFS then kind of has the warmth trying to bounce back as we go towards the 16th, 17th, 18th of the month. European model, once we get into this cooler pattern at the end of next week and into Palm Sunday weekend, keeps the cool around beyond that, and as a result suggests that we're going to have a hard time squeezing out a warmer than average April, because it keeps that cool pool across the lower 48 for a little bit longer. Now, the climate forecast system modeling produced here in the U.S. Is a little more like the GFS in that it doesn't keep cool around for very long. In fact, it has warm anomalies bouncing back in the 15 to 25 day outlook. So there's a fair amount of uncertainty here. Of course, the European model has a long-term reputation as being the most accurate, but it's, of course, not always going to win every battle, and sometimes it's going to be flat wrong. So even though the European is showing a pretty cool pattern starting late next week and lasting at least maybe 10 days or so, I would not buy stock in that just yet, because the GFS and the CFS are quite a bit more optimistic about some mid-month and late-month warmth. So bottom line is, we're of course not going to change our April forecast a day after putting it out, but the long range does bear watching. We have our forecasting challenges ahead of us, that is for sure. I'll say this. The atmosphere's done a lot of head fakes during the winter and early spring. Every time I've gone on this video, not every time, but a lot of times I've gone on this video and talked about a warm-up in the longer range, kind of gets whittled away and cooler air reintroduces itself into the pattern. I thought the end of March would be warmer than it ended up being, and hopefully April does not follow suit. So that's been a pattern that we've been in, where long-range warmth tends to kind of get whittled away as we get closer and closer. So again, more updates on the long range on future editions of Weather for Weather Geeks. Thanks for watching tonight, and I'll see you back here on Wednesday.